All right.
All right, so I'm here with Andrew. Andrew, do you consent to being on Canadian Love, the YouTube series?
Yes.
Amazing.
Sounds like fun.
I hope so. So, Andrew, you said you had a story for me. Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, when you were saying that you're trying to bring together people with opposing viewpoints and find like some places where they can kind of get along, humor is a great way to do that.
Agreed.
So I want to tell you a funny story.
I'm so excited. Get in.
My girlfriend, she has a crazy uncle. He's got a shrine to Trump. He lives in Sudbury.
A shrine.
Yeah, he has a chocolate bar with his face on it, like in a frame. He doesn't believe in climate change at all.
Of course.
I am
People with shrines to Donald Trump don't generally, I believe, to my knowledge, believe in climate change.
Yeah, I mean he's like he's a nice guy. Like he's got a cool man cave, like where you can do like you can play golf down there. So that's so he's like great host.
That's sick.
The shrine's a little off-putting, but
Sorry, is it in the golf room? So like you're playing golf and over there is the Donald Trump shrine?
yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Continue.
And oh boy, when he starts talking politics, you just leave the room. You don't want to even get involved. But here's like the interesting thing about him. So argues climate change isn't real, that it's solar flares, like the Earth's been warming and cooling, all this bullshit, blah blah blah. But he's got solar panels on his roof.
Really?
Solar panels on his roof. He votes. He's like kind of a libertarian guy. Doesn't want to. He wants his own energy source, so he has solar panels. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
A Trump supporting climate change denier with solar panels.
yeah. And I'm somebody who's like quite a staunch advocate for climate action.
All right. Would you identify as a liberal? Because that's what I would guess from your buttons.
Liberal? No, more like Green, NDP.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, we need to do something about the climate crisis, and we need to do something now. Greta Thunberg, girl from Sweden. You've heard about her.
I haven't. Who is Greta?
Oh, Greta, she, so on her own, she actually decided that she was going to leave school so she could go on a climate strike. And she started doing it by herself, went over to the Swedish parliament buildings with sign, leaflets, and then people started to join her. Every Friday she went on strike, and now it's become a movement called Fridays for a Future. And you've probably heard of this Extinction Rebellion as well.
No. Tell me.
Okay. It's so Extinction Rebellion in London, it's really taken off. It's actually more than 1,000 people were arrested this last week. Or was it this? Yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
And they brought everybody's like Easter plans to kind of a halt. Like people couldn't shop, they couldn't really go places. They occupied different parts of London, but it's because their message is that the governments need to tell the truth about climate change. They need to escalate efforts to deal with it in the same way we dealt with World War II. I mean, this is no joke. Last weekend I was helping with some flood relief, and I mean this was the crazy thing too. Is if you remember 2017 when those floods happened, they called that like the flood of the century.
The Louisiana floods?
No, the like the ones we had on the Ottawa River. I came down from Ottawa.
Oh wow! Welcome to Toronto.
Thank you. Yeah. So they called that the
The flood of the century.
yeah for Ottawa, and then here we are again, 2019. It's even worse, and they called it. This is something that happens every 100 years, but now it's like here we are.
200-year floods within 2 years, which, a 100-year flood is like, that's the maximum for 100 years. So it's not, it's like they could happen twice in a year, but that's still kind of telling, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Do you feel that is directly related to climate change?
most definitely.
Yeah. How so? What's the linkage?
The linkage to it is,
Yeah. How did climate change cause these 200-year floods?
right.
Like within 3 years of each other?
Well,
I'm sorry, that's a very
Yeah,
sciencey
I know.
question.
I'm not like a scientist, but there is like an explanation. I mean, more precipitation with the ice caps melting. So what you're seeing around the world is places that are getting wetter, places that are getting drier. We're seeing droughts, we're seeing floods. Actually, places that don't get enough attention, like Mozambique, they just had a really terrible um, cyclone. Yeah, floods. It's. I mean, this is a crisis, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We need sidebar, Zach and Savon and Lily. We need a climate change specialist on the show to really delve into this.
I want you to look into great climate scientist. He has a YouTube channel actually. He's from
Okay.
Ottawa. He's one of our guys. He's in Ottawa.
What's his name?
Paul Beckwith.
Paul Beckwith.
Yeah.
All right, we'll look him up. Paul Beckwith.
He's a he really explains in layman's terms like climate science very well. It's his specialty.
Okay.
So definitely worth checking out. Yeah.
Amazing. We will definitely do that.
Sorry, I went from a joke to just something really.
No, that was me. I really wanted to unpack that. So Andrew, right?
Yeah.
Andrew, thank you very much for for sharing us your climate your passion for the climate issue.
Yeah.
And also for this amazing story of this man who is, a great dude, super fun, has a golf room in his basement, don't mind the shrine to Donald Trump in the corner, very, very right wing, but has solar panels.
Which is kind of like interesting, I guess, if you think about it from that angle. You're not going to win with a person like that on climate science, but on energy independence, on renewables, new technology, like there's just different ways to approach it. I mean, that's what I wanted when you told me you're doing a show to try and bring different ideas together. Maybe that's one of them. I mean, there's just sometimes like people are very difficult to change. Like, I don't know what to say.
People are definitely difficult to change. But Andrew, I totally agree with this because here's the thing. Like, you've got someone who believes in climate change, someone who doesn't. Can they work together to make Canada a better place? No, they cannot. They have opposing beliefs. But if you've got someone who believes in climate change and thinks renewables are a good idea, and someone who doesn't believe in climate change but does believe in energy independence and thinks renewables are a good idea, these are two humans who can work together to make Canada a better place.
Yeah, I mean, I should also add too, like the people that don't believe in climate change are a very small minority now. Like it's
fair.
There are some people, yeah, but I mean, the evidence is like just there every single year. Things get worse and worse. We see it everywhere around the world. This is something that, I mean, if I could say this, like something someone told me when I was helping them with like the flooding. So we're doing sandbags. Actually, we had too many volunteers, which is amazing. And well, we had there's a Facebook group. So
Facebook, great for organizing volunteers.
Yeah, carpools and I mean, to help complete strangers, like in another part of the city. But one of the homeowners who unfortunately like had been affected by it, he said if there's one small thing that's good about a natural disaster is that it restores your faith in humanity a little bit, that it actually brings like enough people that you actually have almost like too many people like working like to help their neighbors. So maybe on a world level, if this could be achieved, wouldn't that be something like to just, I don't know, restore like some more faith in humanity? That's what I'd like to see.
Andrew, I'm so into that. There are some things happening right now in the world that maybe aren't ideal, but if we can just unify together around those things and help each other, no matter who each other might mean, then those crises we could use them to make the world a better place instead of a worse one. That's pretty hopeful. That's very hopeful.
Well, it's like a bit of a desperate hope, but like I mean.
Well, if the crises are going to be there anyway, we might as well use them to make the world a better place. I don't know.
I guess.
All right, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've been absolutely great. Thank you very much for being on Canadian Love. Thank you for your story.
Love. This is a nice it's a nice name for your. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, what, a month? We're very new.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how many people have you talked to?
Well, I mean, we've got only 2 like mainstay interviews so far of like sit down full interviews. We're doing a 3rd one today.
Nice.
But this is our 2nd event. We also did 420, and we got what, like 5 people each event ish, 10, yeah. So we're at like, I don't know, we're at like a dozen people so far.
Mm-hmm.
And we, but we're just starting. We hope to like we want to get, more people.
Yeah. Nice.
If you're watching this and you disagree or agree with anything Andrew just said, please be on our show.
Like, subscribe, right?
Yeah. Perfect. That was perfect. All right. Thank you, Andrew.